What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm here today to give you a little college football update video on what has been going on in the world of college football. It's been about a week since I've done my last update video, so I'm here back with another one to give you guys an update on what has been going on in college football. Now, I'm going to start off this video by saying I do not have a slide prepared for this, as I did not want to get too in-depth into college football politics, but a lot of players in the Big Ten and Pac-12 are threatening to boycott the season and just not play if a certain list of demands are not met, and that includes player safety, lots of social justice stuff as well. And I don't want to get too in-depth of it, but I do think it's good that college players are finally getting a voice in the grand scheme of things, and I think it's really good for college players that they now have a voice. But again, I'm sure conferences are working hard to meet these demands because they want these guys to play, not just for them, but not just for the self-gain of the conference, but also for the players themselves, because almost all the players want to play this college football season. But let's talk about some of the players that don't want to play in this college football season. We're going to start with Caleb Farley, a cornerback from Virginia Tech. He was one of the first players to opt out of the 2020 season, and that was a huge loss for that Virginia Tech defense. Was a big part of that secondary. Now Virginia Tech's going to have to be without him. That's a big loss for Virginia Tech. Wide receiver Rashad Bateman of Minnesota has opted out, and that's an absolutely enormous loss for Minnesota. Minnesota's already got to replace a lot on defense, and Rashad Bateman was going to fill in nicely for Tyler Johnson. But now Rashad Bateman has opted out, and while Tanner Morgan's a pretty darn good quarterback, he also missed out on J.D. Spielman in the transfer portal. Couldn't get him to come over and play for P.J. Fleck in Minnesota. So while I do think Tanner Morgan's going to win them some games, Rashad Bateman was going to be an absolutely huge part. And I think it opens up, or I shouldn't say opens up, I think it more so solidifies the Big Ten West as Wisconsin's division to lose with Rashad Bateman opting out here. And another Big Ten player that has opted out is Micah Parsons, a linebacker from Penn State. And I think this is the highest rated player to drop out of this season so far by a long shot. Micah Parsons is going to be a top 10 pick in the 2021 NFL draft by my marks and by a lot of people's marks, and was by far and away, in my opinion, the best player on the Penn State defense for his career at Penn State. And now he's opted out. This is going to make games like Ohio State and Michigan a lot harder for the Penn State and Nittany Lions without Micah Parsons. He was an absolutely huge part of that defense, and now is going to move on and prepare for the 2021 NFL draft. And now this is a player who has not opted out and says he is not going to opt out of the 2020 season. Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, he has said that he is not going to opt out of the 2020 season. It has never even crossed his mind. He really, really wants to play football if we have a season, which is absolutely fantastic news for Ohio State fans. You get your biggest weapon on offense for the 2020 season. Absolutely huge. But he is not going to be opting out. But, of course, these three players have already made the decision to not play football for their respective colleges in 2020. So now let's move on to some conference news. In the Big 12 finally released the plan for the 2020 season. They're going to play a 9-game round-robin conference schedule, as they usually do, with the addition, and I say possible because nothing is set in stone yet, but with the possible addition of one non-conference game. So, for example, for Oklahoma, that's more than likely going to be Missouri State, as games like Army and Tennessee are off the books. So it'll more than likely be Missouri State. For a team like Iowa State, it'll probably be South Dakota. It'll probably end up being an FCS team or a very low-level team like in the MAC or in Conference USA, somewhere like that. But the Big 12 does plan to have an addition of one non-conference game. Absolutely great news for the players and coaches in that league, as the Big 12 finally plans to have some sort of a football season this year, as they were the last conference to announce something like this. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the Big 10, ACC, and Pac-12, and they have, as of right now, finalized plans and release schedules for the 2020 season. The Pac-12 is going to play a 10-game conference schedule, as well as the Big Ten, and the ACC is going to play a 10-game conference schedule, including Notre Dame, with one non-conference opponent. And I'm working on preparing videos for these schedules. You're going to see them sometime in the near future, and more than likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to release them as they're going to start the season. Which, speaking of the start of the season, the release of these schedules proves that we are going to have a staggered start to the college football season. The Big Ten is going to be starting on September 3rd. That's a Thursday. Ohio State and Illinois are going to open play there, and the ACC is going to start on September 10th. Miami and UAB are going to kick off the season there. And then the Pac-12 is going to start 2 weeks later on September 26th, where all 12 of the teams are going to be in action on that day. Now, the SEC and Big 12, of course, I'll talk about them here in a little bit. But as of right now, this is when these conferences are going to start. And as I just said, more than likely, this is how I'm going to be releasing these schedules. I'm probably going to end up releasing the Big 10 first, then the ACC, then the Pac-12. But talking about the SEC, they have not released a schedule for the 2020 season. They've been close and then have kind of backed out, and now I think are close again, but they have not released a schedule quite yet. How they're going to add on 2 additional opponents is, from what I've heard, by strength of schedule, whether that means pit good teams against good teams or kind of even it out. So, for example, Alabama, they already have to play Georgia, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. So they could pit them up against Florida and a team like Kentucky to make the schedule harder and just overall more enjoyment for the fans. Or, again, if they're going to do by strength of schedule, by that means like evening it out, they're probably going to end up pitting them against a team like a Vanderbilt and a Missouri. That'll probably end up being what is happening. So they'll go one way or the other, or they'll even it out. So maybe they'll get like a Florida and a Vanderbilt. Somewhere along there, but the SEC is finalizing their schedule. It has not been released yet, but I think is very, very close to being released. So now you're going to ask yourself, well, how are these videos going to work? How are you going to be redoing every single team? And that's going to be my first point. No, I'm not going to be going through schedules team by team like I was doing when I first started this channel. That is not going to be happening. It's just going to be too much work and too little time. I'm going to be pushing myself, and it's just not going to be a good thing. So what I am going to be doing is I'm going to be making 1 or more than likely 2 videos for every conference, splitting the division, or in the case of the ACC, just splitting it in half. And I'm going to be giving you overall thoughts and predictions for each team. It'll just be a quick run through of team schedules with an overall record prediction. And more than likely is going to be a game-by-game prediction the way I'm thinking of it right now. Of course, when the season starts and we get to like week 6 and there's a big game going on, I might change my opinions than what I am going to be releasing in these videos. But overall, it's going to be 1 or 2 videos per conference. Again, overall thoughts and predictions for each team, so more than likely a game-by-game prediction for them as well. So that's going to do it for my college football news. But I do want to give you guys a reminder, if you did not see my last video, it was just a short, about a minute video telling you that I made a second channel. There's a link down in the description to it. It's my American Professional Sports channel. I'm going to be covering the MLB, NBA, NFL, MLS, and NHL. I'm really excited about it. I've been having a lot of fun just watching sports all week. It's a weekly sports show. It starts this Sunday, August 9th. Please don't miss it. Go subscribe. There's a link down in the description. And again, that's going to do it from me. Please leave a like on this video. Also, subscribe to the Tailgate Nate College Football channel. That's this channel. If you haven't already, turn that notification bell to join Tailgate Nation. And if you haven't done so already, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what's been going on in the college football world. And as always, until next time, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. Again, go subscribe down to the Tailgate Nate Sports Show. First show is going to be on Sunday, August 9th. Don't miss it. There's a link down in the description. And I will see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.